Good evening, Internet. My name is Michael, and I'm here to review some stuff for you. Tonight, we're going to take a look at a movie that's based on a franchise that's based on a theme park ride. That's right, we're going to take a look at the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Now, this movie is actually pretty good, but it's kind of a weird sequel to the previous three. There's only three characters that return from the previous movies. Well, four if you count the monkey, but that's it. You got Captain Jack Sparrow, you got Captain Barbossa, and you got the first mate Gibbs. He's the guy with the mutton chops from the first three movies, and those are the only returning characters. Well, I guess there's one more. There's Alice Cooper returns as Captain Jack's father. He makes like a brief bit part, and he was in a brief bit part from the third movie. So anyway, the plot of the movie. The plot of the movie is that they discover is about the Fountain of Youth. The Spanish find a man who was on Ponce de Leon's crew. He ends up back in Spain, and he has a guidebook, and so the Spanish are off to go get to the Fountain of Youth. And then the British find out about it, so the British are off to go find the Fountain of Youth. And they have Captain Barbossa. He now has a peg leg, and he's working for the British government as a privateer. So they're off to look for it. And then we have our new villain and the new pirate, which is Blackbeard. And Blackbeard is off to find it. And Blackbeard's off to find it because there's a prophecy that he's going to die within 2 weeks by a one-legged man, which is actually Captain Barbossa. And he plans to use the fountain to basically break the chain of fate or whatever. And Captain Jack Sparrow's caught up in all of this. Basically, he's hornswoggled by Blackbeard's daughter. Penelope Cruz plays her, and she basically tricks him into helping them find the Fountain of Youth. Turns out the Fountain of Youth, like all the other movies, there's something horrible about it, and it's really kind of weird and messed up how it works. First, you need these two silver gauntlets, then you need a mermaid's tear, and then one person drinks the cup, another person drinks from the other cup. The person that has the tear cup gains all the years that the other person would have lived because they die. So it's not a really good thing to use. It's not just, a fountain you can go and use and happy time. But magic in this series is never happy. As far as the story goes, it's not too bad. It's a pretty decent standalone story. It doesn't really continue anything from the previous trilogy, but then the previous trilogy was more about Will and Elizabeth than it really was about, anything else. Their story's told and ended. So it just, basically more the day in the life of Jack Sparrow and his continuing adventures. He's still a pirate, but he's not really a captain anymore because he doesn't have a ship. He's just a crew member, and that's about it. The action, it's decent. It's nowhere near over the top as the last two movies were. There's a good fight in a tavern against Penelope Cruz's character and Captain Jack Sparrow, and there's some other decent fights, but really the action's very subdued compared to the last two movies. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but considering you would think they would take it up even more of a notch, after the craziness of the whirlpool fight. But no, it's just kind of just normal fighting. It's more like the fighting from the first movie, really. Actually, in all honesty, the whole movie intones more like the first movie, except almost on a lesser scale. It just doesn't seem to have the same scope with, the undead pirates. I mean, all the pirates are just normal pirates. The government guys are the normal government guys. There's nothing really crazy fantastic about it, except for Blackbeard. He has this crazy ship, and he has a sword that controls the ship, and like the rigging comes alive. There's a mutiny, and he stops it, and all kinds of stuff. The only thing I didn't really like about that is he just sort of has this stuff, and they just hand wave it away. They don't explain anything about Blackbeard at all. It's just, oh, Blackbeard, he's a big, bad, scary pirate, and he has weird supernatural stuff, but we're not going to say anything else about it. So yeah, the supernatural stuff in this one's kind of weak. I mean, it's not horrible, but it just doesn't have the epicness feel or even really the mysteriousness of the first three. Um, on a whole, and also the humor, just there's some humor, but it's not as good as the first couple of movies. All in all, this is still a good movie to watch. I do recommend it. If nothing else, there's a twist at the end involving the Spanish when they get to the Fountain of Youth. I won't ruin it for you, but that's actually pretty cool. There's also a subplot involving the mermaid that's caught for the tear and a preacher. Um, it's pretty heart wrenching, but well fits the story and is actually one of the better parts of the movie. So all in all, I'll definitely give this one a 5 and recommend you watch it. Now for the series as a whole, I'd have to say the first movie is really good. The second movie, if you didn't have, I mean, you need to see it to understand the third movie because the third movie's pretty good and at least the epicness of it was great. But the second movie just kind of sucked compared to the first and third one. And the fourth movie, it's decent. On a whole, I'd say my favorite still is the first one, and the rest of the series is worth the watch. So anyway, that's all I have to say about Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. And tune in next time when we'll review something else.